turn this one on? I'm not sure how you do that.
Can I get you again?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Tonight's presentation relates to the Readiness Rock 21st Century Schools. And what we will show you tonight exemplifies the fact that a 21st century school isn't just about bricks and mortar and the hardware and how the physical plant looks. It is also about the resources and opportunities for our teachers and students. When I came here this year, I challenged the team of content area specialists that we start looking at the possibilities of becoming completely digital in District 205. And Mr. Parker responded to that challenge immediately and has been working with a pilot program here within the district. And I'm going to turn this over now to Jim Parker, who is our science AP.
All right. Tonight we have a teacher here named Ms. Cheryl Metz from Washington, and she's brought some students. And what we want to do is we want to have the students and the teachers show you a little bit how this discovery education works. And I got some laptops here and a smartboard and so on behind me. How it's broken down into components. And there's a lab component, and there's literacy components, and then there's some inquiry with the smartboard and so on. And we were able to, through DEA, to get certain components for the literacy part correlated to where the kids had deficiencies. For example, they were able to pull up the scores and find that we had deficiencies in making inferences. And so then we took the reading passage and we were able to put the reading passage down, and the kids were able to draw inferences off that, and then they would move from station to station. I also have some representatives here from Discovery Education that are going to talk a little bit afterwards. We've allotted ourselves about 20 minutes. So I want to turn this over to Mrs. Metz and her students and let them show you exactly some of the intricacies of this program.
Thank you. I signed up to do this simply because I believe that the students in 205, in a lot of classrooms, our teachers are being led to believe that there's not time in the school day to teach science and social studies. And so anything that helps us integrate that and allow these teachers to bring in hands-on materials along with still working on their literacy skills, because we all know that that is a big concern here in Rockford. So hopefully by the end of this presentation you'll see that this is a well-integrated program that would still bring in the aspects of hands-on for kids that maybe they're not getting right now by simply just doing the more text-based activities in classes. So this program is going to kind of bring all that together. I brought 4 students along. I'll give a little brief overview, and I'm going to have each of them explain what they did at the different stations the day that we tested out the program when the Discovery reps came to our classroom. All right. This is a smartboard, and the lessons in the Discovery lessons are set up on what's called the 5E model. The 5E model is kind of an accepted model across the country for laying out science lessons. If you look at the National Science Teachers Association journals, when you submit a write-up or a lesson that is to be accepted in the journal, basically that's the model that they use when they write up these lessons. So as you go through here, you can click on any of these tabs across the top. I'm assuming that our board will work, but so we should be able to click on the tabs across the top here, and it would take you into the different parts of that 5E lesson. Now, it always starts with an engage. The engage part of the lesson is meant to arouse questions in the students. So, for instance, what we did that day is we had a flask, we had this just some distilled water, and we mixed in this compound and basically created something very similar to what you have in hand warmers. And how it starts is just a solution. It looks like a liquid, but of course then what happens is it gels very quickly, and we talked about all the scientific properties then that were happening with that, and that brings questions to mind then that the kids start hypothesizing about. So after the Engage activity, we explained to the kids about we had 4 different stations around the room and what they were going to be doing, okay? The 4 stations involved them, one station was at the smartboard, and hopefully we'll get that to be able to come up. There was a computer station where we had 3 computers set up, so we had them in pairs back at the computer stations. We had a literacy station, which I'll show you some of those materials, and then we also had the hands-on station where they were actually doing an experiment that time, all right? So let's start first with Lydia. Which station did you do? Are you explaining, Lydia?
I had the hands-on station. What we did is we took
Lydia, I know that you're coming, but I need to go to the mic because there's people who aren't here in this room that won't hear you otherwise.
I had the hands-on activity, and what we did is we took, in my group, we took a different amount of liquids, and we had sea salt and table salt. Then we took them, and we had to figure out which thing was all faster in each amount of water. So first we did a small amount of water that was 1/4 of the cup, and we put 1 tablespoon of sea salt in 1 cup and 1 tablespoon of table salt in the other cup. And when we mixed it together, the table salt dissolved faster in a small amount of water. But when we took larger amounts of water, which was the whole entire cup, and we put tablespoons in, then and we mixed it, the sea salt dissolved faster in the larger amounts of water. So what I think is that that the sea salt dissolves better in larger amounts, and the table salt dissolves better in smaller amounts, and that's why I think that the sea salt is in oceans, because oceans are large and then you don't need and it's very small amounts, and it dissolves way better.
All right, Mary Kate, come on, tell us about your station. And they all did all the stations, by the way. They're just reporting out on the different stations that they participated in.
We were in small groups for this lab, and at my group's 3rd station, we did a computer activity with a partner. The first part we did was a computer activity. The first part was an explore with different vocabulary that had to do with science and chemistry. My partner Lydia and I selected multiple words. Once you chose a word in the list, the website told us different facts about that science idea. I think the activity on the computer went above and beyond the other activities because this was interactive, where you could look up almost any science term, and I learned a lot more about it. The second part to this was an essay question that you had to answer completely. The question was, which of these examples is the best example of a solution? Give 3 examples of why you think this. This helped me understand ocean salt water better because I had to explain my answer, so I had to support my answer more. Yeah.